Is we on? Let me make sure we on. I can see my patrons. I think I see y'all. I think we're live streaming now. I see my people in here. It's some niggaversary. Yes, a niggaversary. Happy niggaversary to all my black folk. It is Black History Month. Y'all know I am an N-word user. I shan't retire the word anytime soon. Argue with your mammy. Welcome here. I got like a lot of new patrons. Some of my OGs is, staying on, coming back. Welcome to the room. This conversation today is going to be a big one. There's a lot of things that we are going to have to discuss. And so I'm ready. Bring your thinking brains, bring your thinking caps, settle in. We're going to be here for a nice strong hour, and I don't want to waste any more of your time. Let me see who we got in here. What's up, Iana? A Barty, Benia, what's up? Kasi is here. Khaled is here. Asha, Mara, my girl, Simone is here. Let's do it. We had some people. I wonder where y'all went. Where'd y'all go? Where did these people go? But you know what? They about to miss it. That's just going to be on them. We are here for one reason and one reason only, because it's been a hot topic of conversation over the timeline since Friday. Good grief. Today we are discussing, as you could see, Malcolm and Marie, written and directed by Sam Levinson, the creator, the writer, the director of Euphoria on HBO, one of my favorite shows of 2020. Oh, so good. I do stand. Executive produced by Kid Cudi, who goes by Scott Miscuddy for this. He got to put on his real name. You know what I'm saying? Starring Zendaya and John David Washington, the son of Denzel Washington. You can hear it in his voice. Okay. Can you hear it in his voice? You heard it. But I'm not doing this alone today, as I usually do. I have an incredible, incredible guest, a dear friend of mine, but someone who is educating the masses. She is the founder of Women Love Power. You guys may have taken that infamous feminine archetype quiz. Get to know yourself, all right? She made that. The contributing writer to Zora, and of course, you know, my squad from the Grapevine TV. I don't want to waste any more of your time. Please bring the incredible, the incomparable, the super intelligent, the beautiful, the brilliant Ayesha K. Faines. Come on in the room, girl. Say hi to the people. Say what's up.
Oh, here we go. It's muted. Hello, everybody. I gotta ask you off camera why my quiz is infamous.
We all took it. We said we want to know who I am, and I was like,
that's another conversation for another day. Yes. Hello, everybody. I can't see y'all, but I feel y'all.
She feels you. Ayesha, you watched Malcolm and Marie. Any initial thoughts in the movie before we dive in?
It was an uncomfortable movie to watch. It was triggering to me, even though I've never even been in a relationship like that. And I still felt like ancestrally triggered. And I just think that's a conversation that it's a movie that allows for a lot of different conversations about love, about relationships, about colorism, about power, all those things, which I'm sure we're going to get into today.
We sure are. I had some initial thoughts about this. Being that I was an avid viewer of Euphoria, at some points it was giving me Euphoria 2.0. To be quite honest, I was like, baby, Sammy, babe, do we only have one story to tell? What's good? What's going on? Sometimes for me, especially as a screenwriter and a filmmaker, the dialogue was too clean, and I'll point out where. I feel like some parts, it felt like he was showing off his pen rather than allowing the characters to truly express themselves. Yes. You know, you're mad at your man, you aren't so perfectly put together and hyper self-aware like that. So
he used some word that starts with an S. I forget what it is, but it was like nobody would use that in conversation. And it just felt like it needed 5 more edits.
Yes. Some of the words were so colorful and two black folk arguing down to the house. Come on.
No. Nah.
There was also a huge conversation regarding their age difference. And of course, we are going to be speaking about the critique of colorism in this film. But let's dive right in, you guys. I'm super excited. People are saying the movie was exhausting. I'm starting to see, oh man. Simone says, that's right. What's up, Queen Ayesha? And Elle says, I think they should have cast white actors. Dun dun dun. Uh-oh. Look, my people are hard to please, okay? My people are hard to please. Let's start with the opening shot. RIP color theory. Okay, RIP. I usually like to break down the colors and what they mean and expand that. But we got a black and white film today, so we're going to be speaking about different aspects to how the director used the visual to expand the story. We are beginning here with a car coming from an unknown place. And we're coming into this home. We're going to be locked down into this home and staying here for the next hour. So usually what I like to notice when I do dissections is that usually when you see a place full of like all these architectural lines and these really clean line structures, no matter how beautiful it is, no matter how exotic it is, it's given jail. Okay. It's supposed to feel like this beautiful retreat to maybe relax and unwind, but this obviously is going to be anything but. We're going to hyper focus on the emotional layers of this couple. Who is our couple? Malcom and Marie.
Can I say something quickly?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't think about this, but it reminded me so much. I'm a big fan of the film noir genre, and reminded me so much of like Sunset Boulevard and like Double Indemnity, where it's dark. There's like these vertical lines, and it's meant to feel like the homes are meant to be massive and cavernous and prison-like, because it speaks to like the pessimistic mood of film noir. Mm-hmm. So it really gave me noir vibes when I was noting that.
Absolutely. And they hit it right on the head, noticing that. So until we go inside of the house where it's much brighter, usually skulls represent death, but I think people have to reframe what death means. I usually surround myself with skulls and items of death, because death to me is a transformation. We're going to start one way, and to get to a better place, something has to fall away. Something has to die away. And hopefully, even though we see this skull, which could feel a little ominous, it may not mean that for this couple. We could come in with high hopes, but something really ugly is going to happen first. And as soon as the movie jumps in, this couple is always in different spaces, occupying different rooms. They're coming in with this dark clothing. It's going to be some shadow work to be had, okay? Some shadow work. Let's look at how the visuals paired Malcom and Marie. She's often paired against white, open spaces. He's usually against dark and these gridded lines. She's hot, he's cold, she's still, he's constantly in motion, running around. As an earth sign, dating an air sign is hella annoying, bro. I ain't even gonna lie. Y'all do too much. Y'all all over the place, right? She's very sedentary. He's flying all over the goddamn house. Stay still. And the opening line of this movie is, "You look beautiful tonight. I can't hear you." I want to put a pin in that because I do want to come back to that line. It'll matter later. But let's talk about what we're talking about. Malcom comes home from a successful film premiere, glowing at the warm reception by all of these critics, notably white, but he's offended that his movie about a drug addict becomes political because it features a Black couple. Malcom asks, does a story with a Black couple make the movie about race? My little ears perk up, because I've actually asked this on several dissections before, and me and my crew agree. How can you tell a story from a Black lens, a Black POV, without including race? Is that possible? I think Jordan Peele tried to do that with Us, the movie. But if we're following this Black family in a horror, can you completely not include their Blackness? Is that possible? And for a white writer to ask that question through Black characters, it put my little ears up. Okay. And I think this is different than the way Sam was able to do it in Euphoria, because Euphoria was an easily more colorblind cast because the town and the story, and that was very specific, like he got away with it. But can we throw these kind of questions from a white writer director onto Black characters? Can we look at this couple and experience their story without it being about race? And Malcom says to Marie, "You wouldn't get it. You don't work in film." Marie drops the issue. So Ayesha, any thoughts on if Black characters, if Black people can experience something devoid of race?
In this movie, just in general?
This movie.
No. And it's so funny that this movie is about his attempt to be above race, because the entire movie was really about race and his experience as a Black man.
I agree.
Success and to essentially become a white man.
Oh,
so it's like you're talking about it's race, and it's like, yeah, it's about race. This conversation, everything's about race. Yeah.
He says to Marie, "You wouldn't get it. You don't work in film." And Marie drops the issue. She's like, "I don't want to fight. Fuck it. I don't even want to do this." Knowing how you view and educate for women in romantic spaces, how does it affect women to give up the argument? You know, like what is the difference between compromising, like we ain't got to fight right now, versus our voices being suffocated?
Yeah, it's so interesting because it's, you know, I write a lot about how in patriarchal societies, women are often taught, and to the point where you don't even realize it, to give up, surrender power for love. And so part of that power is sometimes being heard. And I was speaking to a woman, actually a business partner, not a business partner, but someone I'm doing business with. And she's talking about her husband, and she's like, yeah, I let him think he won. Sometimes I'll walk away from the conversation, and then sorry, this is a window open if you hear that. And I'll come back, you know, to the conversation later, you know, when he's more relaxed, and I'll try to slip it in. Or I've heard women say, I like to make him think it was his idea. But that's how we cope. We find these surreptitious ways to get little bits, pieces of power, because we are so used to, you know, in order for this man to feel like a man, I have to allow him to have this, you know, final say. So I think we saw that. I think a lot of this conversation this is seen in Waiting to Excel, where Angela Bassett says, I had some shit I need to get off my chest. I felt like this whole conversation was Marie having that stuff she finally had to get off her chest and finally saying it.
A mountain of things this woman has been holding in.
Yes.
And now that I got my man where I want him, he's going to hear every goddamn thing I gotta say to him tonight. Shout out to the people who are joining us. I want to say hello to Demara. Welcome. Hey, Marquise. What up, Mandy? My girl's here. Tadeo's here. Hi, Kalevna. Welcome back. It's okay, y'all. Hi, welcome. I see y'all in here. I see the chat going off. And someone said something that I like. Marquise says, and he quotes August Wilson, all Black art is political. This is similar to the conversation about Black hair. Like us wearing our natural hair, even though it's just us living in a day and existing, that becomes political because it's so existing as it is in its natural state. It's so anti-societal approval. Us existing as Black people comes with so much mess that how could you have an experience, especially in America, devoid of that? Mara says it's not possible. I wish it was, but no. And they made it this way, and now they want to up. Let me stop. All right, y'all. I see y'all going off in the chat. The mac and cheese looks disgusting. I think we all agree there. I was just wondering why mac and cheese. Was it like soft, childish food paired against this hard adult, you know, conversation? Is it a funny take on the combination of their names, Malcolm, Marie, Mac cheese? Like
I actually thought it was a commentary on her relative naivete and youth. You know, they're in this big cavernous house. They've left this ritzy thing, and she makes like not mac and cheese.
Box.
She makes Kraft mac and cheese, which is like the easiest, like, you know, but then also the idea that she's simultaneously accepting her role as a trophy girlfriend and resenting it at the same time. So they're in this heated argument, and she's still cooking for him, and he's still tossing things at her while she's cooking and while he's eating the food, which is crazy. I'd be like, give me back my food.
He can have it. Take that mac and cheese. It was disgusting. Oh, it was so gross. Oh, Simone says mediocre food for a mediocre man. God damn, y'all being vicious today. Oh my gosh, but we're actually going to move on. We see this beautiful shot here where Malcolm is against the wall, but we see his girlfriend Marie through a mirror. So This is the point where Marie badly hides the lie that she ain't even mad. It's cool. I'm all right. I'm good. But she finally says something here. You're unable to de-escalate a conflict unless it's about your work. After all this lying, all this time, the moment she finally tells the truth, we see her through a mirror. So this is what it sets for me in my brain. When we see these people maneuvering in the house, there's so much surface conversation. There's so much passive aggressive. There's so much things that they're not saying that by the time we actually do get a mirror or do get a reflection, which in any other case would represent a lie, these are the moments they're actually telling the truth. And she finally drags him just a little bit. We see her through reflection because what's present right here is the lie. What's in the reflection is the truth. Completely subverting the film rules. This also reminded me of the conversation with Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin, where like,
yes,
she's saying, the world gets the fucking best of you, but when you come home, why is it a war here? Why is it a war with me out of everybody that gives you that hell?
And it's so interesting because a lot of men like this character feel like the world is against me. I'm a Black man. The world is against me. Give me peace at home. But then you come home and bring war. So by giving peace, that means just don't fight back. Problem. Don't bring war if you don't want there to be peace.
Yeah. Now, this is why you on this goddamn show. My God, truer words have not been spoken. And we finally get to the root of why we're even mad. Marie's upset because Malcom forgot to thank her in his speech, which brings me back to that opening line. You look beautiful tonight. I can't hear you. AKA, you didn't see me. You told me I look beautiful, but you didn't even see me. You didn't say thank you. I can't hear you. You didn't say thank you. Pair this with him commenting on, you're so beautiful, you're so sexy, you're so beautiful. But when it counted, you missed her. All right? She doesn't feel like she provides, or she doesn't feel that he acknowledges her value to her contribution to both this relationship and his work in film. How dare he forget when his entire lead character, Imani, is based on her? How dare you forget? Let's get some more mirror scenes. She done dragged him and laid the bomb down. Now, this mirror image is blurred right before he disappears completely as he lies. Imani's not based on you. You're delusional. Not only can he not see her, but he can't even see himself. He's not even seeing the truth in himself. And we as the audience can't see him because what he's saying to her isn't truthful. His whole identity has to disappear. He's not in the room. When Marie comes back and tells him he's being verbally abusive. Now, Ayesha, I would really love your take here because there's been so much talk about this age gap. Obviously, there's so much power dynamics that goes into an older man who is the breadwinner in a relationship. So I just want to set this all up. Malcom met Marie when she was 20-year-old. She was a 20-year-old drug addict. She was young and vulnerable when he gave her love. He was by her side on her journey to get clean. And just this whole conversation with the way he's speaking to her and denying what she knows to be true. It's like this predatory, this gaslighting. He's going for insults when she's holding him accountable. Do we often see these type of factors affect women in romantic relationships? And is there a solve to that?
Well, see, the thing is, I don't think now, mind you, I'm speaking to somebody who dates older men, but I don't think that the age gap is the imbalance, it's the power imbalance. A 25-year-old can hold her own with a 45-year-old, depending on where that 25-year-old is in life and mentally. But you have a woman who is dependent on a man for both her sobriety and her well-being. At one point, she steps out and he's like, Marie, where are you? And for a second, I was like, well, damn, did she run away? And I was like, where's she gonna go? And he knows that. He knows that. And so you have a lot of these relationships where you have a man like that. And when he's listing his trophy case and all the women that he's conquered and used their bodies and used their stories to build his ego and inform his work, I'm asking myself, this man came from such a great family and he's doing all these wonderful things. Why are you consistently dating broken women? Why are you choosing to date broken women? Nothing wrong with dating. We all deserve love, but why are you consistently on to the way? Look at you. Don't look at them. Look at you. And it's like there are some men who, particularly men, who've learned to not go deep, not go into the depths, right? To define, to engage the world by defining the world, by compartmentalizing things, by making sense of things, to keep them in control emotionally. They are drawn to women who will be fuel for their ego. They are drawn to women that they know will need them emotionally, and even better if financially as well. And I think that's the kind of relationship you have here. So I don't think the age is an issue at all. It's just the general power dynamics. And that is what gets him off, clearly.
This whole thing reminded me of R. Kelly, and I couldn't not see R. Kelly in this situation. Like, yes, this rich, powerful man going after these inner city girls who need help, who want their dreams to come true, who would emotionally rely on a man like that. And yes, if she was really young, that would more easily and more readily happen. But as we saw with R. Kelly, there was women in their 40s in his house and completely under his spell.
Yes.
So I also kind of disagreed with the age gap. I was looking for it, but I didn't quite see that. But the power dynamics, absolutely, because what he really does is kind of hang that over her head, like, I helped you out. Like he does this whole thing. And I could not see like this. He needs a woman, or he would like his woman to not challenge him. Let him be this powerful, lying ass God that he'd like to be here in this house.
Exactly. And this whole movie is about him wanting this validation from the world and from the white man, and his anger over not getting the white woman's validation. And it's about him seeking validation from the world and her seeking validation from him. That makes such an interesting dynamic.
Which brings me back to how Sam Levinson, let me hold it for later. Tadeo says the age gap made sense in the movie, so the casting was very spot on. Elle says this convo, I think they tried to highlight age by having her use big words at the beginning of the argument. I didn't think about that, but that makes a lot of sense. Like she's trying to match his wit and trying to show, I could spar with you. I'm on your level. Don't try to play me. Yes. Which the vocabulary, now that I'm thinking about it, would make sense. I'm just thinking about you late at night. Your man had this nasty mac and cheese. He getting drunk. Cigarettes taste bad. You don't know where you at. And you're using all these beautiful words to yell at him. Like, would that naturally happen? But now I'm thinking, if we're discussing power dynamics and age gaps, mentally, would this character try to get up there with him? That's a great point, Elle. Khaled says age gaps are extremely common in the entertainment industry. Almost every man is dating a woman at least 10 years younger. Dun 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 dun. Y'all got some good takes. Let's see it. So when we look at Marie with the lights and the glittery sparkle dress, I believe she's asking, can you see me? Put a pin in it, y'all. We'll be right back. Can you see me? And Marie says this haunting line to him: once you know someone loves you, you never actually think of them again. It's not until you're about to lose someone that you finally pay attention. And so, Ayesha, I think you hit it. I think you were like motioning towards this, but I was just wondering from a writer's standpoint, did Sam realize he was encouraging this racial conversation? Because this parallels how Black women feel about how Black men treat them. Like, y'all forget us because we love you so much and you know we ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, taking that. I mean, I think there are some men, and not all. Sorry, it's snowing. So if you hear it beeping, it's the snow plow going up and down the street. Yeah, I think that there are some men who've learned that you can leverage emotional gratification for power. And so that's why she says, once you know a woman loves you, meaning once you know you got her, you have her heart, there's an emotional connection, she is looking to you for emotional validation, you take advantage of her because he knows he can. And there's a lot of men who leverage emotional gratification and validation and love over the lives of women to get them to act the way that they want to act. But because you brought up her dress real quick, and this is the thing about the race coming into it, if you looked at that dress, the first thing I said was like, wow, what a dress. It's the only thing like shiny in the film. And it shows her breast, it shows her taut stomach, it shows her legs, her hair is long. She is literally a trophy. Like you can literally put her on a pedestal. And for a lot of Black men, particularly since this movie is a commentary on like the Hollywood machine, if we look at our in our entertainment industry and the images that are presented as this is what a trophy should look like, it is exactly this. The younger woman, and she's literally got her whole self on display. And so this is a lot about, it's very much a commentary about the trophy girlfriend, and she's literally dressed up as a trophy, and that's the purpose that she serves, in his life.
Right, because the people at the party kept referring to her as a model, and that was just pissing her off. She was just like, what?
Right,
and much more,
and pissing her off, getting him off.
Right.
He was like aroused by it. Even Anthony said so. And she's like, oh, yeah.
So let's move into a much tougher conversation. Let's talk about the colorism. Now, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this because I know, Ayesha, you got your own takes. All right. When it comes to colorism, and me keeping in mind that this was from a white writer and director, I believe that there are some aspects that he missed because he doesn't have the range, because he doesn't have the Black experience, point blank and period. I also don't trust that he has listened and heard enough Black stories and enough Black people to understand the extent of colorism. So here's where I think it occurs in this film. I think from the mind of Sam Levinson, who's trying to make this beautiful Black and white, stunning movie. He's literally using their skin tones as a visual effect to tell the story.
Wow.
So I don't think Sam is like, because she's light skinned, it's going to mean this thing. I think he literally was saying, when I make this Black and white movie, I want to show how vastly different these two are, that she's going to be the light and he's going to be the dark. So when you see them together like this, you can further put in light woman, dark dress, dark man, white shirt, and it's supposed to play with those visual contrasts. But Ayesha, I would love to hear your view on colorism for this movie.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal take, and I'm also looking at it archetypally. There's a myth of Hades, who is like sort of the god of the underworld, but known to be very creative. And a lot of filmmakers are actually like, if I describe that as an archetype, would be that archetype. And they're drawn to vulnerable younger women often. So in the myth, Hades abducts Persephone and brings her down into his world and keeps her there. And so this whole story was like a very much a retelling of that for me. And so the darkness and the light also speaks to that archetype as well. This dark man brings this woman up from the light world into his dark life. So I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, I get it. He may have actually done it unintentionally, but watching it, particularly as Black people, we can't help but think that, for him, the fact that he does have this younger, very fair-skinned, light woman, that is the sign that he's made it.
Yeah. And I didn't want to spend too much time on, they had this conversation about him making a Lego movie and all of this. But she mentions, when you become rich and famous and you do these tours, you'll be dating the white woman from LA, like knowing that she'll be left because he'll then earn from the light-skinned Black girl to the white woman.
It was very Kanye-esque.
It was giving.
Kanye dated literally like the color spectrum. He went from, I forget the girl that was a Delta, but she was like my complexion, and he progressively got lighter and lighter.
Oh yeah, until he got his prize trophy white woman.
Yes. He wasn't playing about that.
He was not playing. Marie says, don't push away the people who ground you. which really comes back to that opening shot, the way she's so still and so sedentary and he's spinning around the world. I'm the one who grounds you. I had to just ask out loud, think out loud, discuss amongst the chat. Is this form of tough love valuable? And I only ask that because if this is her way to insult him, to bring him down, to humble him, is this her imposed value to this man and to this relationship? And is that valuable? Because how does hurting me allow me to love you and keep you here? Like, how does that make you valuable by you insulting and hurting me? That doesn't keep me grounded. It doesn't humble me. It makes me upset. And it makes me want to get you out of my damn glass house. But I'm going to move on. She is desperate. She needs to matter now because with more money and more fame that are on its way to him, he definitely won't need her later. She needs him to see the value right now. He already used her story. So if he goes and makes different movies, what will be her inspiration to him? Is she manipulating the fact that you need me in this way in order to be kept for later? Looking at the visual stacking of these actors right here, she's on the opposite side of the glass. There's a small divider between the two, but what stands next to him is this faded reflection of her, is this faded, imposed version of her. And he's physically, again, eyes closed, not looking at her. A song plays, I forgot to be your lover. Dun, dun, dun. Let's get into our next fight. Malcom versus Marie, the heavyweights. Okay, so Marie throws a jab. You don't even get jealous. You're needy as hell. He responds by bringing up her deepest wounds and his fear that her health is hanging over his head. Pure toxicity right here. So I want to ask Ayesha and the audience, I want to read you guys' takes in the chat. Obviously, the drug take, we saw Sam Levinson do it amazingly in Euphoria, but now he's imposing this drug take on this Black couple. Does the race context change the weight of the drug use? I feel especially with Hollywood starlights, with the white kids, they get to just die by drugs and be addicts and be all this, and they get so much love and grace and forgiveness. But when you put that same addiction on Black people, a la Bobby Brown, Whitney Houston, for me, that changes so much. So how do you guys feel with this white writer's drug story being imposed on this Black couple? And does that change anything for you?
I felt it just added to the power dynamic. I didn't even look at it racially. I think it just made sense for the movie he was trying to tell, that this woman, in order to really tell the story of this man who needs to be needed, you had to have something going on in her life, something crippling going on in her life, some demon that she herself was running from. And so I saw it just as more of a plot device. But it's an interesting point, but I looked at it more as a plot device.
Maris Cherie says, this cuts deep. Fighting fair is necessary in a relationship. There is no love here, just codependency.
Also, to that point, the language, like her coming back at him with the sharp barbs, is because that's what she's learned from him. Like, that's their love language. And I feel like it's a conversation we're constantly having in society with even how we rear our kids. We hit our kids and then we tell them we did it because we love them. And it's kind of like, how do you not take that into your relationships where it's like, I'm about to cuss you out and if I love you, like, it doesn't work. Like, we got to discuss, like, how do we communicate in love, which obviously this relationship has no idea how to do that.
Marquis says the drug aspect and power dynamic was important, especially because we ignore those on drugs. But his savior complex added to his narcissism.
Yes, a hero that's it. That's why I said, to me, it was a plot device, because we had to give him that savior complex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to further break down the levels of toxicity with you, Ayesha, because we know that she gave up her dreams. She often finds herself making herself smaller for him. He handles situations with her differently so he doesn't cause her relapse. And they do this thing where they owe each other. Well, I'm here for you now. Well, I was present for you then. And they're doing this tit for tat. Who owes who? How is he being poisoned here? What is Marie's accountability here?
Well, she's in terms of who I think creates the relationship dynamic. I'm gonna start off by saying they're both a little bit at fault, but it is mostly him wielding that power and doing things to deliberately maintain that power. For example, as an addict, right? Maybe it will be a good thing for her to have a career that she could be proud of, something to fight for, a reason to stay sober. But you're denying her that opportunity and keeping her with you, knowing that her sobriety and now her livelihood depends on you. So who's really working to maintain that power and balance? And we can go back and we can look at Bob Fosse and Gwen Verdon. Gwen Verdon's one of the best dancers of the 20th century. He deliberately curtailed her career because it was a threat to his role. Miles Davis, and I forget his first wife's name, I think it was Frances, beautiful dancer. She was in West Side Story in the debut. He drove up in his car. She was on stage rehearsing, and he said, you got to stop. You got to come home. I can't have my woman being on Broadway. Because so this happens. There are a lot of men who don't know the difference between love and domination. It's like, if you love me, you will you will give me this power over you in your life. So who's maintaining it? More so him. But she enjoys the life too. She, like many trophy girlfriends, I think she probably resents not being fully loved for who she is and resents being stunted. But if you note, she never goes too far. She never goes too far with him because she's dependent on him for that life as well. But I think if anyone's maintaining it, it's him, because he said something that was interesting. It was like, I want you, I don't need you, or something like that. She knows that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She knows that she's very replaceable.
Khaled says, I think this started with Euphoria. Sam's imposing his own drug addiction onto a Black/biracial girl, but somehow missing the racial implications. That's like essentially my beef with this movie. That's my only beef, is that it's so much deep conversations, but so many the things that Sam was aiming for is missed, because you can experience certain things in your white manhood that this Black couple very much would have a heap of other things be included in that. And we're going to break that down a little later, because there's another huge conversation I want to have. But I wanted to pay attention to this because as an artist, this is my worst fear. And I believe this is Sam's worst fear as well, being outed as an imposter. And she calls him an imposter. You have nothing to say. If someone came after me like that, I swear to God, bitch, I would just jump out the window. I would just stop, okay? I think this was Sam's utmost, most transparent, putting his deadpan fear right on the script. He was like, this is the thing I'm most fearful of. And he makes his character say it, right? And Marie doesn't ever believe he's truly present. You're using me for my story. And this, when Marie is really trying to cut deep, we see her go towards the dark, but we see Malcom head towards the light, because right now he is purely the victim. He is purely the victim right here, right now. She said, you ain't never been through no shame and guilt with your cushy ass life.
But where's the lie? That's what I'm like. It's tough love, but it's true. And I just can't get over that scene. Well, you haven't got to the bathtub scene, but like, it was like he literally was the women's bodies that he conquered physically. It was like he did take their story. He took pieces of them, almost like, when you have serial killers and they keep pieces of their victims, they keep their earrings, they keep their panties and stuff like that. There's always a stash if you watch Dateline. He was doing the same thing. He was taking pieces of their stories and using them for his art, which does tell me he's like bereft. And he's got to like snatch other people's bits and pieces for him to have something to say.
If someone accuses an artist of being an imposter and they're right, you could just throw me out. Throw me in the trash. I'm done, because If I ever get clocked like that, but I have stories. I don't know about what's happening. But if I ever get clocked like that, throw me out. So Malcolm's pissed off. He wants to swing back, but his reflection enters first. Again, they've been lying in this very present 3D area. So when these reflections come in, we got a bit of truth coming out. And here he comes in with the receipts. This movie ain't all about you. It's about you, but it's not about you. And he lists in incredible detail to disturb and incite jealousy in his beloved Marie, all of the women that have come before her. This ain't just your story. It's their story. It's my story. Unnecessary, but fucking mean. And we have this moment, as Ayesha mentioned, he says, I don't need you. I love you. Having both characters paired against white backgrounds, possibly coming clean, possibly coming to a common ground. The end was inspired by you. The tragedy of a girl so ridden by guilt, she can't fathom. Someone just loves her when she can't love herself. Eye for an eye up in this house, bitch. Oh my God. She's physically naked. He's emotionally naked, becoming vulnerable for just a second after that fucking hellfire thunderstorm. But he does become vulnerable just for a second to let her know through all this mess, I love you.
So would he love her if he loved himself? Would he love her if she loved her?
Good fucking question.
Like it takes a certain amount of self-loathing to be drawn to that kind of love. Yeah. I just think that there are men who prey on our emptiness. I think that when you get to this place of knowing your purpose and feeling good in yourself, there's a certain type of man that will be repelled. Case in point.
You're right, because I dated them. Would he love, or would he be in love with the woman, with the aspiring actress that goes out for auditions to other people and not his work? You need my work specifically and only me. Mandy said, this is one of my favorite scenes. Ellen said, and just like that, the movie would have been over, because Ellen's been talking about how if she was Marie, she would have left a long time. She would have left at the mac and cheese. Everybody's just screaming for you, Ayesha. That's really what's going on in the chat. Everyone is going up for you. But this is what's happening. And we come to a switch here. We come to a midpoint in our film where the track that we were on gets a little curveball, right? It switches paths just a little bit. And so Marie is starting to see things from his point of view. Well, let me take that in because my man said he loved me real quick. So conversely to how we met them, where he's drinking, she's smoking. Now right here directly in the middle of the film, he's smoking, she's drinking, she's playing music, she's going after him, and now he's the one retreating. Everything's completely opposite from the beginning. And we have a song called Get Rid of Him. Oh no. Get rid of him. Guys, let's have a big ass conversation. Okay. I stick with it, y'all. This is a big ass conversation. Let's talk about the critic. And this part of the movie, personally, for me, felt like a ton of work. It felt like a ton of emotional labor because I couldn't tell where Sam, as a writer, was bringing up actual points versus him doing something ironic, leading us to places, but making us fall for the trick, or he just missed the point completely. But let's just walk through it and see where we land. Okay. So the white woman of the LA Times gives critique, and Malcolm's pissed. Now, what's really phenomenal about this is that this white woman, who we don't even know the name, we never saw her, we never heard her, she's sort of haunting this man wherever he is. Her opinion matters so much. It satiates the way he's maneuvering this space in this relationship. And we saw a shot in the beginning. You guys may have missed it as he's maneuvering maniacally through the bar of this blonde white girl, back turn, no identity, can't see her, but she's right behind him. She's on your ass, Malcolm. You thinking of her whenever she's not even around, right? Another point here where he kind of slips it in. Imani is confirmed to actually be Marie. The star, this lead character in this film, is actually very much inspired by Marie after he spends an hour lying to her about it. Because why is Imani cutting herself with the nail scissors too? Very specific.
The gaslight. And that's the point we didn't bring up. How frequently gaslighted. Whenever she had a point, he would gaslight her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So this critic from the LA Times says the movie is good, but she frames Malcolm's work in this blackity black woke take eye, and he is so upset because he wants his film to be free of that. This is about a black couple on drugs. It ain't about a black couple on drugs. So I just question Sam, how could you have that conversation without having that conversation? Malcolm in his character and in his full rage, skipping over all of the positive parts that this woman is saying and hyper focuses on the critiques. This movie is about gendered violence against women of color. And he hates it. So we have some layers here that I want to just point out. A white woman can lump men versus women, right? But her being white can misinterpret his film because she has these really broad strokes about her understanding of race, which totally misses the point of his movie. Mm-hmm. So that's really what gets him mad. He's like, I was saying this, but because you're white and looking at black people do it, and you're saying my movie is this, even though you said my movie is great, and I hate it, and I hate it, and I hate you. So Malcolm also says that the way to make a film doesn't matter. No matter where the actors are, what the lights are doing, where they're blocked, is it film versus digital? You just do what you want, right? And as you can tell from my work, I heavily disagree with that.
Right. I was so confused by that.
Yes, because each choice expands story. So I wonder if like Marie was right? Like you ain't got nothing to say. You're an imposter, because how don't you understand that every single visual does expand your story and mean something? It's literally what we're sitting here doing. Right. And Sam knows that as a writer director. He knows exactly what he's doing with the visuals. So why does his character feel that way? I'm just asking questions out loud. Malcolm questions the pressure critics put on movies because they're constantly trying to pair that work against cultural and societal answers. When at any point can this movie just be a movie without all the extra cultural conversations and critique? So that brings me here. just me, because you know I'm the discourse dog. This is where I'm having trouble. A white writer is using a black couple to disengage from cultural critique. And if Sam is questioning whether the movie has to be this thing, well, now that you're making a black couple say these things, there is cultural critique. So are you being like geniusly ironic, or are you missing the point completely? Right? Because also with that Lego conversation from earlier, when Marie was like, and you're going to be famous and you're going to make a politicized movie about 40 Legos and a mule. Sam Levinson is giving an observation on how any story can be politicized if and when white people engage with art created by a black person. But then I have a question for Sam. You want to use a black couple in your white art to disengage from social conversation? It don't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. If you're a black person making any movie and it's politicized because you're a black person making anything, then how can a white person use black people as a tool to disengage from that critique? I want to see what the fuck y'all saying in the chat. Manny says, I really love you, Latasha. Y'all, I'm just here to ask questions. Marquis says, outside of Sam being white, then I do think that there are people who want to bring humanity before race. It is a struggle for Black creators. So this is another convo for us as a community. Vibrant Hughes says, make it make sense. It's just very strange choice that Malcolm would make a movie about a Black couple and his very next project is a biopic about Angela Davis. And when he get on, he leave her ass for a white girl. That's Black conversation. That's social conversation. So how are we devoid?
You know, I don't know if you're wrapping that conversation with about the critic, the white woman, the white female critic who does
Come on, girl. Yeah, go in.
He literally haunts. I think he brings her up in the beginning, and then in the middle of the movie, her article comes out. But also, it's the idea that a lot of this movie is about him seeking validation, and I can't forget that scene where he says, "Did you hear what the white director said? The white director said this. The white actor said this. And he's literally saying white, like
It matters a lot. The white critics love my movie, dancing around that damn table.
And then it's the white woman. It's so weird to think about this as validation and to think about this movie in part as a critique on trophies. And a white woman is the ultimate trophy, and she's not loving and gushing over your work. It's a good critique with an asterisk. That's the one check mark you can't get tonight, and your whole night is ruined, even though the critique wasn't bad, even though you just made a movie. That's very interesting.
Lay me to rest, child. I'm dead. I'm fucking dead. I genuinely have so many gray areas with this movie, no pun intended, because I don't know what Sam is saying. What do you want us to take away from this? Are you having a race conversation or not? Are we the problem or not? Are critics the problem or not? Is it Malcolm's problem or not? And because it's like, say that again.
I said the whole movie was about race. The whole thing was about.
Yes, it is, and it has to be.
It has to be, yeah.
Sam, you're gonna have to clear it up, baby. I'm sorry. Elle says it's like white people who use Black Lives Matter to criticize Black on Black crime. Oh, the racist, anti-racist on accident. Not you. Not you. Mara says it gave me color blindness. He fails. Benia says for a little background for who the white woman might be. When Sam's film Anne came out, a white female critic was really hard on the film from the New York Times. So Sam came in with a personal and very specific vendetta who he had to use this film to air out all of his grievances. Is that what we're saying? Oh no. Khaled says the irony is so strong, there are no more wrinkles left. LaShawn says Marie even expressed that critique was good. Like, hello, you focusing on the wrong thing. I had to have that conversation. Oh, so another one for you, Ayesha, and the audience. Sure. Malcolm says, identities are constantly shifting. Can the male gaze exist if someone is gay, trans, asexual? Why are we holding the fire to someone based on their identity when would that be the case if I wasn't this specific identity that I can't help being? Any thoughts, Queen? If identities are constantly shifting, can the male gaze exist if they weren't male? Ayesha, I don't know if you're talking or not, girl.
Oh, I'm not. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Your question. What exactly was your question? I remember that conversation.
Okay, yeah. Malcolm says identities are constantly shifting. So my question is, can the male gaze exist even though somebody may be gay or trans or asexual? Like, what defines the male gaze? Is it specifically based on who the male is?
I mean, I think the male gaze is the generalized way we tend to view things in a society that prioritizes a very masculine perspective. So it's, to me, the male gaze is always there. I mean that's yeah, I think it's always there. I understand that identities are shifting, but it doesn't, none of these things are happening in a vacuum, you know. So to me, you know, it's a woman can project the male gaze.
Yeah, I think it's the presence of patriarchy. We're all operating by the rules.
Exactly. It influences the way that we are socialized to view things. You know, the racist gaze. We look at black, white, good versus evil, dark versus light, plus versus minus. It's a very racist, white supremacist gaze that influences everybody. And that's kind of the male gaze.
Yes, I think we're all operating through patriarchy, and the things that we learn, even when we're trying to express our identity, can come from these oppressive systems because that's how we're taught to operate and maneuver ourselves. I know for me, like, I'm a Black artist, like, and it makes me question someone like a Sam Levinson who is financially privileged and he's cis het and he's white and he's well connected in the industry. Like, he's using a Black character to question, is identity even necessary? And would a Black man question that? And we've seen it, right? We've seen what's this man's name now from Get Out? David? Who the boy that starred in Get Out?
Oh, I forget the name.
It's going to come to me, and I'm sure somebody's going to say it in chat, but people were really upset because he did an interview saying, I don't want to talk about race. Let's not focus on it. It's like, baby, you starting Get Out. And then you're starting in Queen and Slim. Like, you're going to have to answer for these roles that you're taking. And like, I know it's exhausting. I know it's hurtful. I know you don't want to be the activist actor. Like, you just want to act, but is that for you to opt out? And so to have this white man say through the mouth of a Black man, oh, what's up with identity, huh? And it's just like, I know me as a Black artist, my identity bleeds through my work, right? Because like, having to love myself through all odds drives my art. It's the way I survive. It's the way I exist loudly. It is my fuck you to the system. And so does a man like Sam Levinson have that kind of fight to include in his art? What was there for Sam to fight for? So I'm sure a man like him is questioning, why do we need identity and why does it have to be this thing? Because who you were is 110% accepted. What identity?
So you get to be neutral. Like only a white man would ever ask that.
Come on!
Not really even a white woman, because her sexuality is so shaped by forces happening around her. Only a white man who gets to choose to be neutral could potentially even ask that question. It doesn't. Yeah, we don't have that option.
We do not have the option. Thank y'all for hitting me up. It's Daniel Kaluuya, which I totally blanked on his name. I was like, David. Thank you guys so much. Marquis says, I think the role of the artist has changed to be much more sensitive and understanding that there's a power imbalance in Hollywood. So we want more representation in the writing. Meanwhile, white Hollywood just wants to tell the goddamn story. I'm sure that's very confusing for them. I'm sure that's very confusing for them. Let's get back to Malcolm's mirror. We see his reflection. She shot inverse / upside down. We're having this inversion of truths again, right? Or we're actually getting to the truth, because as they are is usually a lie and surface level communication. So now that we're getting to the root of what all of these topical arguments are, why didn't you cast me? Why was I not your leading girl? Ugh. She's an actor. It's her story. He also mentioned in the beginning, if you find a character that's true to your identity, you're going to be outstanding. You're going to be great. Well, this was it. She believes, as she mentioned earlier, you're the only one who could write me. So why not? What were we missing? Right? And that brings me back to that earlier quote that we put a pin in, where Malcolm says to Marie, you wouldn't get it. You don't work in film. Bitch, she tried. Okay? She goddamn tried. So Marie says, you didn't want me because if I were there, you would have to share the stage. So Ayesha, I read a quote on your website, which turns me inside out because it's phenomenal. It's what you do, okay? Mm-hmm. The quote on your website, womenlovepower.com.
Mm-hmm.
They say men want power and women want love. I want both.
Amen, amen, amen.
Talk on it, sis.
I got a witness.
Is the situation, how can we apply this quote to Marie and everything that she's asking this man for? They say men want power, women want love. I want both. How can we maneuver that idea?
This entire movie is really a commentary on when women surrender power for love. for love and for the privileges of love in a patriarchy, which could be love and protection, be it physical protection or financial protection, she's had to give up parts of herself, her ambitions, parts of her voice, in order to get the love of this man. And so a lot of the work that I do is recognizing that general power, gender roles and those power imbalances are prevalent in patriarchal societies. I mean, the work I do is helping women, get love that does not require them to shapeshift and become less than they are. It doesn't mean it's not tender. It doesn't mean it's not soft. It doesn't mean that you don't sometimes acquiesce and he sometimes acquiesce, but it means that you don't have to fundamentally surrender the power to be who you were meant to be just to say, I have someone who loves me.
I hate these niggas, yo. I swear to God. No, I'm just kidding.
I think the whole movie was a commentary on that. I mean, if that's it, that really was the ultimate message of the movie. And then knowing that she ain't going nowhere.
That is the thing. Which I'm going to get to it, but that is the thing. I wanted to pay attention to her glitter dress as well, because with this question, why didn't you cast me? Baby, look at me, shining. I was supposed to be your star. It's me right here. And the answer was no. And just him minimizing her value. All you have is authenticity. Without my authenticity, you wouldn't have had your character. But you ain't gonna give me credit where it's due is you.
But that also goes to him keeping her broken. He wants to keep her sober and healthy enough that she can function, but broken. To cast her, to allow any human being to do the thing that's in their heart. To feel their purpose, to feel good about themselves, to feel good about something they've accomplished, right? To deny her that when you had the power to give her that, but you want to talk about how you were there when she was drug addled. That means you want to keep her just broken enough, which is brings me back to my original question. Could you love her if she loved herself? Probably not.
Probably not. Probably not. A. Barty says she was to be in love and have a successful career. Why can't they be a power couple? Because he wants to be the star of the relationship and the star in his own lane. As well, Mara says, I honestly think most feel this, but don't say it. He said it. He needs to lean into his work, which I hope he has at this point. And Ellie says, come on, somebody. Welcome, Ellie. What's up, baby? We're going back to our original qualities. She back to smoking, he back to drinking, essentially resetting from the beginning. Was there any change? She ain't going nowhere. They are stubborn and stuck. There's no give, there's no take. And for me, by this point, when I was watching, it felt so exhausting because we're not moving forward. We're not solving anything. We're not going anywhere. And to see these what's the word I'm looking for? These devices at this point in the movie, the drink and the smoke, from where they were when we started, I was like, bitch, if y'all don't get to a healing place sooner than later. And we have a song called Tell Me What You Want Me to Hear. We ain't got time to waste. This was one of my favorite scenes right here when Miss Marie came in with the acting.
Yes.
Hit him with a double bird. Wow. You ain't know what you missed because this is what authenticity gets you. Ba-dow. Hit him with that peeled out. Can you see me now? Huh? Look at the spotlights on her. Can you see me now? So another conversation. Ayesha, thank you so much for being here. You're incredible.
This is great. I'm like I learned so much from taking notes too. I told you I'm going to write about this for the next piece. I'm like, this is great for me, but this is thank you. Gosh.
Thank you, girl. Thank you to each and every patron who's here as well. We have a final big conversation before we head on out. All right. Marie says she relates to the white LA Times writer because of Malcolm's limitations as a man and a filmmaker. So I was just asking, is this Sam's limitations? Because Black women would never. Marie calls this white lady a spiritual sister. We're both in the foxhole from you. Oh.
Yeah, I was confused with that.
Get a little flip of the white there, okay? Malcolm also is accused of sexualizing his lead character Imani because while she's having this addiction, she has her breasts out. But as she's saying this, we're physically looking at Zendaya in her underwear while she's intellectually challenging this man. So this is where I think Sam Levinson is being a little cheeky. Again, there's little irony here because you're accusing and being negative towards an idea in a film while your very film presently is doing that harmful idea. There was one shot where Zendaya's, her pussy was right at the camera and she's talking. Yeah. I was like,
we got booty, we got vagina, we got everything.
Right. So I'm like, so Sam, are you critiquing something? Did you know that you're actually doing the thing that in your character said is a bad thing? Or are you like, I'm going to do the thing that I'm saying is a bad thing? Let's see. Like, I don't know if this is intentional or not. I don't know if this is genius or not. I can't call it.
She was so, I don't want to say sexualized, but so
male gazy.
I guess you could say sexualized, but yeah, her body, the entire film is her in various states of undress. The first thing she does is lift up her dress and pull down her stockings. Like the entire film is Zendaya in various states of undress. So I hope it was deliberate.
Getting her booty ate down to the mac and cheese. So, Sammy, baby, what is we doing? Okay. This all to me still feels very male gazy. She's the only one undressing as the film progresses. And like, yes, he takes off his shirt. Yes, we saw his back, maybe his abs, but him getting undressed is like not sexual. You may be attracted to him, but it's not sexual, right? Also, this thing where she's like undoing her beauty. Like this is the moment like she's getting raw. And I don't know if this is just like men viewing makeup as like a mask. Like you're beautiful, so you're being fake. I kind of don't like that.
Hate it.
And then as she's getting more truthful and more raw, she's undoing the beauty. And it's just like, I don't think he knew. I don't think he knew. But Marie has a realization, maybe the man I love is not the tour de force. Is the phrase that this white critic used. Maybe the man I love is not the tour de force. Maybe he's just some man who likes low quality love and experiences. And if that's the man that I like, and if that's what he likes, then what am I? And if you like something so low quality, what the hell am I trying so hard for? If I was trash, you would love me. If I was great, you would love me. Does it even matter? Do I even matter?
Because he doesn't love her. He loves what she represents and the way she makes him appear.
And she says this, the man I'm looking at right now is as good as he's gonna get. I'm gonna just tell my business just a little bit. The men I've dated in the past, which I'm consciously deciding to not engage with those type of men anymore. But the men that I've dated in the past didn't try at all. I'm talking 0%. If they could have given a -2, they would have tried for. That's what they would have tried for. They would have tried to give a -2%, right? If we could work in the negatives. But when they saw my value, they didn't try to match that. What they did try was to lower that. If you can come down to where I think I am, then I'm gonna feel good, rather than taking on the challenge to what she said, up your fucking game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of, and this is actually in the PUA community. I think they call it negging or something like that, or pegging.
Yes.
I think it's
yes.
This is something, and I can remember being young and occasionally dating a man who I would recognize did it, and I'd be like, "Oh, red flag, next." But they are intimidated by women who are full. And it's not all men. I'm just saying there's some men who are very intimidated by women who are full, women who are confident, women who have things going for themselves, the stars in their eyes. And so their first thing is, I got to knock her down. I got to knock her down. In many ways, the movie was that. She rises up, he knocks her back down. She wants to get the role. He says, no, I can love you if you're here.
That's all they understand. It's also it's just a reflection of their value projected onto this woman that they say they care about. And using the word love so much, Malcolm says he loves this woman so many times in this movie, and we actually watch him for an hour and a goddamn half do everything opposite of what love is supposed to look like.
It begs the question, is it love? It begs the question, is it love? And can love really thrive if we're really going to be in the patriarchal system where the man must dominate? Can love thrive? If you're compartmentalizing me, if you're limiting me, if you're loving me with as long as I am this, is it really love? If you're refusing to even see me or to even hear me, is it really love? Or is it possession? Is it lust? Is it like? Or is it I look at you and I see the me that I want to see? Is it Narcissus staring in his reflection? Is that it? Is it self-love?
Mara Sharice would agree with you. She says there is no love here. None. None. A. Barty says, you better take me the size I am or get your weight up. Mara says, yes, ma'am. Men don't want to be challenged and rise to the occasion for us, but they may for their prizes. Khaled asked, this movie makes me wonder about Sam's own romantic relationships. If he's supposed to be Malcolm, then I want to tell whoever's with Sam to run. I think Sam compartmentalized his identity all throughout. I think he broke himself up into fragments. Yeah. I think he's very much Marie. I think he's very much Malcolm. And I think he's very much that critic as well. I think because there was just this one idea that the way white people engage in Black art and politicize it on their behalf. I think Sam is in this white savior trying not to do that. He's on the Black side. He's allowing Black people space in his movies. But he's essentially just missing the mark as well because he's just a white man. He can't help that he's just a white guy. Like, you know what I mean? But we get to this beautiful monologue where Marie goes into depth about all the ways she would like to be thanked. Thank you. Thank you. Just my little writer's take. This dialogue is too perfect, too beautiful, too clean. It's so specific. It lasts such a long time. But art is art. He's allowed to do whatever he wants. But after she's been asking him for about 4 minutes, all the ways he could say thank you, he says, I love you, Marie. Bitch, I will slap you in the teeth. Are you kidding me? Are you goddamn kidding me? I've actually very specifically, what we've been arguing about this whole night, what to do to make me happy, and you don't do it. I would have a fight. I just want to take a moment to pay ode homage to these beautiful shots. These beautiful shots. Their skin, the lighting, the black and white, the mirrors. Like, I haven't seen mirror work this good since Black Swan. Like, Black Swan knew how to fuck up some mirrors. This is gorgeous, okay? This is just another way Sam is just showing off, where he's showing off his pen and everything else. And we finally get here, the final line, I'm sorry, thank you. Because, bitch, I thought he wasn't going to say it. And he didn't say it. I was going to be driven mad, but he says it, and we have this final shot, which brings us full circle from how we met this couple, from coming into the house full of darkness to walking into an open space in the light, how we go from the dark clothes to the light, these completely reversed wardrobes. We have Marie, who's fully covered in this white gown. We have Malcolm in the white pant compared against his dark skin. Again, this is why I think Sam was using their skin tones to play with the visuals, because this is opposite of his tuxedo. And that beginning line from Marie, when she says, once you know someone loves you, you never actually think of them again. It's not until you're about to lose someone that you finally pay attention. But Ayesha, you also said this, and y'all also said this in the chat. Mandy, I know you said this as well. She don't leave.
That's why it's a very naive because they don't step out into anybody's life. Like, they should have ended with them in that dark bedroom. Like, the cycle continues. Nothing evolved. Everything came to the surface and sunk back down, like nothing. But that is also the reality. The reality is, if this was to happen in real life, this continues until she finds his replacement or he finds her replacement.
Yeah, I don't believe the solve was in thank you,
Not at all.
because the story's already told. Is he going to give you another role later? Is he going to do Imani the remix? Like, there is essentially no solve, and there's a mountain hill of emotions behind that thank you. That him saying thank you is just the tip of the iceberg. He didn't address or fix anything else. There was no character arc here at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was interesting that they never had sex.
Right. Mandy was saying in her live on Instagram, she was like, "This is a circle jerk. None of them have sex. You just wait for them to have sex and go to bed, and they don't."
It comes so close, like 2 or 3 times, and then nope.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I actually just have like just one last question for you before we sign out, Ayesha. What do you feel is Marie's feminine archetypes?
Oh, she would be the maiden.
Just the helper?
The maiden is if we were she speaks to several different myths, but the primary one that I use as an example, and Nana is probably the best one, but the primary one that I use is Persephone. Persephone, real quick story, mythological story. Persephone is the daughter of Zeus and Demeter, so she's this like very naive, idyllic maiden, and one day she's out in the field picking, and she sees a beautiful flower. She goes to pick it. The earth opens up, and Hades, the god of the underworld, abducts her and brings her down. And it's interesting because he brings her down with the permission of her father Zeus, and he abducts her and rapes her and keeps her as his sort of queen. And the idea is that this man in the dark realm, which really represents the inner realm of like men who embody Hades, like Malcom does, they literally exist in their own inner darkness. So they can be creative, but they also can be kind of short-sighted. They can be trapped in their own little world, and they want to bring someone who represents the light and someone who's vulnerable down with them. Which is why I said when I've watched this whole thing, it's a retelling. It's like Beauty and the Beast, right? The beast existing in his big gloomy castle, and he wants to keep this light figure trapped in with him, and I have to do whatever I need to do to keep you broken and sort of in that receptive, youthful state to stay with me. If I let you star in this movie, you may evolve. Yeah. By the way, maidens can, for those of you who take the quiz and who take the courses and everything, you all know that maidens have a cycle of transformation and they do evolve. So it's not to say all maiden women are like naive, but that is a phase that they often go through. So I just want to say that.
Yeah, you know, I took it as well. And I don't remember all of them, but I think I saw like the Huntress and like.
No, the Huntress is up there. I already know. I don't even know. I didn't see your scores, but I know it was all up and through. Mm-hmm.
It was like just that guilt. I'm like, yeah, I'm the go-getter.
I love it. I love how Huntress is. Yes, Mandy. I think I saw Mandy that she was had a lot of Huntress too. So that's why y'all are friends.
For sure. It damn sure happens. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat before we sign out. Marquis says this film does not have a resolution, and that is the reality. Kalubna says they've been together 5 years. She ain't leaving. Elle says unhealthy toxic cycles continues. Mara says he thought she was gone that morning. She should have been gone. Look, y'all, I can't call it. Marquis says I think her leaving would have been unrealistic in this kind of film, especially because it makes me think of couples that stay in this kind of relationship. And that is very, very, very true. I want to thank Ayesha K. Faines for joining me here on this exclusive Patreon dissection.
This was fun. Yes, this is great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Your brilliance, your mind, your beauty. I can't. Thank you to all of my patrons.
I want to say this community you built and this work you've been doing is so amazing and so incredible. And I know like really just the beginning, but I love watching you, girl, do your thing. So let me give you your flowers in public while I can.
Yeah. Thank you. We're trying to do this show on HBO and Strong Black Lead and shit. You know what I mean? Like we trying to get there.
I decree and declare it is done. Okay.
Signed. Thank you to each and every patron that is here. I go live on exclusive dissections twice a month. The last dissection a month, you guys get to come on screen with me. I didn't do it last month. I will do it again this month. I am dissecting WandaVision in full. So tomorrow at 6 p.m. EST, catch me live on YouTube dissecting episodes 2 and 3 of WandaVision. Then I'm coming back on Patreon to discuss episode 5 and 6 of WandaVision. So by the time we get back to YouTube, we'll be all cut up, starting with episode 6. And we are also dissecting Judas and the Messiah on YouTube. Hella good films coming out, y'all. So y'all want to stay patrons. You want to stay here. You want to subscribe to YouTube. You want to let YouTube know you love it by hitting the notification bell and the thumbs up. And other than that, I'll give y'all love and kisses. Have a great weekend. I'll see y'all black asses later. Bye. All right.